The Fight Against Hunger on Triad Today. Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you once again from the Cedar Botanical Garden in Kernersville. We'll tell you more about them later on, and later on is when the roundtable shows up. We'll get into all sorts of controversial issues, but we have a lot in store for you, and I hope you'll stay with us throughout the entire half hour. What we're going to do is something a little special as we begin this program. We're going to do 2 segments in a row talking about the hunger problem in our area and in general, and what we're doing to abate that. And we're going to have the same 3 guys helping us out in this discussion in both segments. Going to them right now. On my immediate right, Eric Aft, who is, of course, CEO of Second Harvest Food Bank of Northwest North Carolina, and the Daggett Shuler team behind me, David Daggett and Griff Shuler from Daggett Shuler Attorneys at Law. Welcome, gentlemen. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Eric, let me start with you, and just why don't we remind folks what the mission of the Second Harvest Food Bank is and who you serve?
Well, we serve the 18 counties of Northwest North Carolina. We're based right here in Forsyth County, but proud to serve from Boone to Burlington, down to Statesville to the Virginia line. And we source food for a partner agency network of over 500 programs that are fighting hunger every single day in our area. But we also have another side of our mission, which is to try to address the root cause by helping with culinary training, getting people a path that they can follow to have a career and support their families.
Great. Now, while I've got you here, Eric, how much of a problem is hunger in our area?
You know, hunger isn't something that is reminiscent of pictures in the third world, that it doesn't look the same here in the Triad and the region. It's very quiet, and it's those subtle conversations between family members and parents about how do we put food on the table today, or just struggling to, are we going to be able to make ends meet? What bills do we pay? But the reality is that 1 in 5 of our children face food insecurity, and 1 in 7 individuals overall right here in Northwest North Carolina.
Very, very quickly, what about the pandemic? How has that affected your operations, your mission, and your ability to serve?
Well, I think the most stark example is the fact that our investment of food. In a typical year, we get a lot of donations and we continue to receive that, but we'd only have to pay for about $400,000 worth of food. Otherwise, we get things donated. But we really needed to ramp up our operations. So last year, we invested over $4 million in food, and we are on the path to do the same this year. So we are seeing—
You said from $400,000 to $4 million.
Exactly.
Good Lord. All right, David, why has Daggett Shuler been supporting the food bank all these years?
Well, it's part of our culture, but we've been involved in various community activities and partners that support the food bank. And through those associations over the years, you start learning how big the problem is in our area. And the statistics that Eric gave, every time I hear them, it hits me right here.
Yeah.
That how we have such a dichotomy in our area, because we see the tall buildings and the booming businesses and all those sort of things. But to know that we are one of the worst food deserts in the United States
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, and we got to do something.
Griff, what do you and David and your team try to do year in and year out to help, and why should everybody help?
Well, one of the big things we do is every year in November, we actually have a food drive at our law firm. And it's actually one of the things that our folks at the firm enjoy the most during the year. They all get together. Eric and his team come over and get the supplies that we provide. And I think the other thing that David and I have always tried to do is also just get the word out in the community to support where they can. If you can't bring it to our law firm setting, get it out, get it to where other collection sites are, and where you can, please give generously through your funds.
We have a few seconds left. Eric, why is it important to have corporate support like this?
Well, it just inspires others to be part of it. It's leaders that say this is an important issue, and you have a chance to make a difference. And we're going to give you the avenue to do it. So again, it makes it a stronger community effort versus just an individual one, because we're all in this together. We're all part of one community.
Up on screen, Second Harvest NWNC stands for NorthwestNorthCarolina.org. Second Harvest NWNC.org. And I think also if you type in hunger NWNC.org, it gets you to the same place, right?
As long as you get to Second Harvest Food Bank, we can get you information
Okay.
on what you need.
And if you need some help from the Daggett Shuler folks, DaggettShulerLaw.com, please check that out. The phone number and everything is on screen. Again, as I said, we're going to take a quick break, come back, and we're going to attack this problem from a little bit different angle and keep talking about the hunger problem. We'll be right back.
Veterans, when you're struggling, soon becomes later, becomes someday, becomes when. Don't wait. Reach out.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Back now on Triad Today, and we're continuing our conversation about the hunger problem in our area and what we are doing to abate it, and we have held over our three very special guests to continue this conversation. In case you just joined us, introducing them once again. Eric Aft, CEO of Second Harvest Food Bank of Northwest North Carolina, and back here and socially distanced behind us, David Daggett and his partner Griff Shuler from the Daggett Shuler Law Firm. Guys, thanks for hanging around for this second segment. Eric, let me start with you. We talked previously about the overall hunger problem. And you alluded to the problem, and David did too, about the problem with kids. How severe is the childhood hunger problem?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, 1 in 5 of our children face food insecurity, but it's really, what does that mean is the big question. And the fact that if kids don't have nutritious food, they're not going to be able to concentrate in school. They could be disruptive. They could have health problems as well. So it's a whole combination of factors which make childhood hunger especially a major issue for our community that we all need to be concerned about and respond to.
Now, maybe that might not shock some people. I think it should. But even if it doesn't, there are a couple things that did shock me. You sent me an email one day and said, hey, Jim, we also have a problem with food insecurity when it comes to veterans and even college kids. Explain.
That's exactly right. Well, we just celebrated Veterans Day very recently, and, it's a tragedy when those who have served the country also face food insecurity, even active members of the military, and it's something we're very cognizant of and the community can help us get behind. But also college students, and we have seen during the pandemic, is that a major reason why students have dropped out of school is because that they needed to get to work to be able to provide food for themselves or their families. And we see that on many college campuses, up to 20% of the students regularly skip meals and are making decisions about whether or not they can continue their education because of food insecurity and housing issues.
All right, very quickly, give us an update on your new facilities, because I know you're doing things to be able to expand and increase the mission.
That's exactly right. We have been building poor for quite a while. We've struggled with space for many years. So we're excited about our new facility. But so this is an incredibly important one for our community. We will move from having about 4,000 square feet of cold storage to 10,000, which that means more fresh food,
right,
more meats and that type of thing out to the community, along with where we're going to be located will be easier access for the community for our training programs, which we'll look to expand through this new facility.
Absolutely. David, sort of doubling back on the kids issue, you and Griff for a long time have been very active in advocating for the health and safety of young people. So how does this fit in with your overall support for Food Bank and hunger?
Well, I think it all ties together, as Eric mentioned. And from a real selfish point of view, our kids are the future of our communities. And if we can give them more advantages in their development, health-wise, physically, mentally, food ties into all of it, our communities are going to be better going into the future. And I think that's something that we all need to take very, very seriously, and in some way, shape, or form, support the little corners that we can and have a positive influence on these young people likewise will have a positive influence on the future of our communities.
Griff, why is it important for business and industry leaders, some of the executives, to really get involved and do the kind of things you and David are doing? Not to embarrass the two of you, but for them to lead their groups into doing things and get behind this issue.
Well, supporting a group like Second Harvest Food Bank is huge, and one of the things I love about Second Harvest Food Bank is it's going to try to get to the root cause of hunger and trying to change things. I think in some ways I always kind of thought as Second Harvest Food Bank for a long time is just taking in canned foods at food drives, and that was their main focus somehow. They're turning the waste that we have in America, where we are wasting food, and trying to get the food that we're wasting to the people that need it.
Yeah.
And going to the root cause of things, I think that's one of the big things. And I think Eric didn't tell me off camera to do this, but I think if people go to their website and look at some of the activities they're doing, the Providence catering that they do now, and now they've taken over the food services at Tanglewood. They've got an event coming up on December 5th concerning that. With a dinner there with Santa and things, and so they've just got a lot going on.
A lot going on, and of course, individually, don't think that any contribution is too small. When we talk about canned goods, you can still, when you're at the grocery store, they have those places where you can, well, I bought a little extra, I can donate this.
With their culinary services, we've taken advantage of that in the office.
Right.
We've even got their food truck here last week.
Good stuff. Second Harvest, NWNC.org. Please go to that, and Daggett, ShulerLaw.com if you should need those services. Gentlemen, I thank you all three for what you do in the community. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Good job.
Appreciate it.